Let me introduce Senator Angus King and John Christie. Thanks for coming in this morning, you guys. Sorry to make you wait for a little while.
Hey, no problem.
And you're here for the Charity Summit, big event.
Big event, great year, great day. Be a lot of people, big dinner.
Yeah, it's going to be fun again. This has sort of become an annual for the Senator and me, and to sit here talking about this wonderful event. And every year we're both blown away with what Sugarloaf does to help support the Charity Summit, and then the generosity of the Sugarloaf family and the Sugarloafers for all of the fabulous items that we have there, both in the silent auction and then the very exciting live auction that Steve and Steph Keenan handles so well for us. It's just a wonderful event. It's always a great fun to be back. I appreciate your reference to me as a legend. Angus said thought he had to be dead to be a legend. That's what a statesman is, a dead politician.
Well, then we don't want to be a statesman. That's for sure.
And I'm anxious. Watching Kip out there, I pulled my atomics out of the locker before I came over this morning. I'm anxious to get back on my atomics this morning out there.
Right.
Should be some good skiing.
Well, hope you get out there, and hopefully the wind won't raise too much of a problem.
I hear it's going up into the 20s. I mean, talk about a heat wave.
You have to get out, really.
Yeah.
After the way it's been, you're absolutely obliged to get out there. And a day like today, it's above zero, so get out there, everybody. Now, you guys were just talking about how long you've been skiing. How long have you been skiing, Angus?
I've been skiing, let's see, almost exactly 50 years.
Wow.
It is exactly 50 years.
Wow.
He's just taking it
just
up.
a baby.
I'm just taking it up. He's more like 70 years. But no, I came from Virginia, Nadine. I'd never seen a ski till I got to Dartmouth, and took what they called ski rec, which was learning to ski as a freshman on the Dartmouth golf course on a rope tow.
And you got credit for it,
And
too,
we
didn't you?
got credit for it.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Then you graduated to Oak Hill, where they had, I think, the only J bar in captivity. And then we went up to Dartmouth Skiway, and I've been going at it ever since. My first pair of skis, big, heavy, wooden, wide skis, and I don't know how.
It's come a long way since.
Man, I'll say.
And how many years have you been coming to Sugarloaf and going to the Charity Summit?
You know, I think the first time I came to Sugarloaf was when we lived in Skowhegan in the early 70s. So it would have been like 71 or 72. And then there was a hiatus, and Mary and I started coming, you know, pretty much every weekend in the mid-90s. In fact, Sugarloaf saved my sanity when I was governor, because it gave me a place to look forward to during the winter, which is the legislative session, which is a high-pressure time. So about Wednesday, I'd start thinking about getting up here on Friday night. And we rented for 3 or 4 years, and then finally bought a little place in the village in, I think, 99 maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an interesting story, and I'm sure it resonates with probably 99% of the people who come here on a regular basis.
I'm sure a lot of people, you know, and it was a great break, and I think I only got accosted a couple of times by people with issues, you know.
No politics on the chairlift.
But yeah, right. But it's just, you know, and John mentioned it, it's a family up here. And, you know, Kip Files, you see around, and I ran into Steve Pierce upstairs. I got to promote Steve Pierce snowshoeing for the cause this week, and but that's one of the nice things about it, really.
Yeah, and for me, I was away from here for 17 years after I had owned a ski area to the west of here for a while in the 70s. In fact, when Angus was in Skowhegan, Eaton Mountain was running then.
I remember Eaton Mountain, sure.
And I was telling somebody yesterday about. They were talking about this very interesting thing that Vail Resorts is doing, buying small ski areas as breeder ski areas, including one in Wisconsin, Alpine Valley, I think it's called. And Vail Associates' idea is if we can get people started at little areas. When I owned Saddleback, I was thinking, well, because I was having a hard time getting people to come there, if I could have something a little closer to the people. The Chinquette brothers ended up owning Eaton at the time only because they had put in the lift, which hadn't been paid for. And so I made a proposal to Ken and Bud, I remember meeting with them down there. So I thought, well, that would be interesting if I could. I was already stretched further than I should have been anyway, but I thought, well, if I could buy Eaton Mountain and make it a they weren't prepared to give it to me.
You were sort of the Les Otten of the 70s.
Well,
buying up mountains
yeah,
all
that's
over
better than calling him the John Christie of the 90s. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I've
You
only
better
been-
watch it. You start asking
I was
us
just
about,
gonna say,
about history. We'll be here
I've
all
opened
day.
up that can of worms.
We're here
Yeah.
for the summit. But my
Yeah.
vanity plate on my Jeep out there in the parking lot says since '54, and that's my pay-in to Sugarloaf.
That's
That
pretty
was the
cool.
first year I skied here.
Very cool.
It's neat that you can use skiing as the foundation for having an event like the Charity Summit to bring everybody together. Because there's a lot of, there's bike runs and motorcycle route, there's all kinds of ways that they do fundraising. But I think this is pretty unique in the state of Maine, this kind of event. And especially, it's got legs of its own. Martha Bradley drives it, and, Bruce Miles helps her. But it really is the whole community effort going on.
Yeah, and it's one of the nice things. It's a charity function where the money stays here.
Right.
It doesn't go off to New York
Right.
or Los Angeles. It's all here in Maine. The Maine Community, Maine Cancer Foundation, and the Martha Weber Center down in Farmington. So it's that's a nice part of it.
And certainly in terms of scale, it's in a class of its own. And every year, and I think I've been in every one since it started. And they say, can we keep up this kind of momentum with a lot of the same people bidding on many of the same kinds of things? And then every year we have some new special things. I mean, Sugarloaf has been so good with the early morning rides to the summit, renting the whole vehicle, and then a mimosa breakfast at Bullwinkle's. I mean, it is first class. And you wonder, can they keep doing this every year? And sure enough, every year. But you get caught up in that evening and the emotion, and the candlelight ceremony where survivors all come up. It brings us all to tears.
It's pretty moving. There are two great. Well, there are lots of great charity events around the state, but I think the two largest may be this one, and can you guess the other one?
The track?
The United Bikers of Maine
Trek
Toy
across
Run.
it.
Oh.
The toy run.
Oh,
Hey,
sure.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they raise,
Yeah.
I don't know how many $100,000 worth of toys it is every year. So that's pretty cool. That's always the first weekend in September. But it is a really nice thing. I like it. I don't have to make a speech. That's an incentive to the viewers. They don't have to listen to me make a speech.
And you can ride your motorcycle.
Well, I bought a
You still have
motorcycle
your
at the auction one year.
Right.
That's right here.
I was bidding and trying to get the other guy to pay more, and he quit before I did. I ended up with a Harley Davidson.
You still have it?
No, it's gone. But I tell you, I woke up the next morning. It's one of those things saying, what have I done? That's what I need is another Harley Davidson.
Oh, dear. Now, we can't let you go without asking you, what do you think about being down in Washington, D.C.?
Oh, geez, it's an amazing experience, Nadine. It's frustrating at times. I mean, I'm not going to avoid that, but it's just you're dealing with issues at a very high level and important stuff, and particularly to come from Maine and from being governor, and suddenly it just by coincidence, really, I ended up on intelligence, armed services, and budget. Those have been the issues this year. I've been in the middle of Syria and the NSA and Edward Snowden and the budget and all that stuff. So it's an extraordinary experience, and it's humbling. Mary and I bought a little house, 950 square feet, about 8 blocks from the Capitol. I walk to work. It's east of the Capitol. I walk to work in the morning, come up Maryland Avenue and look up, and the sun is rising and lighting up the dome of the Capitol. It just takes your breath away. And I have to pinch myself saying, man, that's my office.
I wanted to ask you what you found most inspiring about it, but that alone would have to be
That's
just
it.
one of those moments.
Absolutely. It really is. And to realize, that you're standing on the shoulders. I had, when I was running, of course, I knew I'm running for Olympia Snow seat. I knew that. But then I suddenly realized, wait a minute, this is not only, this is Ed Muskie and George Mitchell's seat.
Right.
That's a little overwhelming. So it's a great experience.
I mean, from Margaret Chase Smith to Bill Cohen, and
Sure.
like you say, Ed Muskie,
Yeah.
Maine really has quite a legacy, so you got big shoes to fill.
No kidding. I remind myself of that every morning.
Well, and speaking as a Maine citizen and voter, we're both proud and glad that you're there.
Well,
Senator.
thanks, John.
Absolutely. And to be an independent in that world
Yeah,
as it is down there.
that's kind of fun. I'm having fun with that.
I would think so.
Yeah.
So rock on with it, Angus.
Yes,
We're all
ma'am.
so proud of
Thank you.
And thank you for representing us so well. It makes us all proud to be Mainers when somebody like you is down there representing us
Well,
like that.
never worked so hard in my life, but I told Mary I'm 10 years younger because I'm just fired up.
You're loving it.
It's cool.
Good for you. So any special words or message for our viewers that you'd like them to know about what you're doing?
Me?
Well, I'll let John have a chance in a moment.
I don't need it.
No. I mean, I had a great day yesterday in Franklin County. This week, Congress meets 3 or 4 weeks, and then there's a week off. Off means go back home. And I was just thinking this morning. This week I've been Brunswick, Portland, Scarborough, Waterville, Auburn, Bangor, Farmington. And all, meetings and touring businesses up here. I was up at Stratton Lumber and Maine Wood Turning down in New Vineyard, which I'd driven by 100 times on the way up here and never stopped. And they're doing amazing, beautiful stuff down there. Maine's just a great place, and Sugarloaf is a community. Maine's a community, and I think that's one of the things. And often, getting out of Maine makes you realize how special Maine is.
Absolutely.
That's, I guess that's the message for today is I'm always glad to be back.
And pretty easy to stay in touch with your constituents in a state like this too, isn't it?
Oh yeah, particularly what I really like is I'm in the grocery store. Well, it's funny, I was in the Hannaford Brothers in Brunswick the other day, and and this guy says, "What are you doing in here?" I said, "Senators have to eat too."
Buying groceries.
Yeah, buying groceries. But I like it. I see people on the street that say, "Angus, how's it going?" and this and that. And very rarely it's senator and stuff like that. So I really, that's what I like about it.
Cool. Well, thank you for representing us so well. And
absolutely.
Really proud of having you here at WSKI.
The other thing is participate in the summit, in the charity summit. This is
what's the event that we have during the day? The Hands for a Cure.
And
that's the name of it.
And
that's
Steve
from
Pierce
10 o'clock
is
until 1.
Steve says for a donation of $10, you can support Steve and Christy Moss on their snowshoe journey. They're snowshoeing daily until the summit. And the Bionic Ski Bum is at yahoo.com is how to contribute to Steve's effort.
And the dinner is full tonight, but you can still go for the silent auction in the Base Lodge all day long.
Yep.
So get on over there, do some bids. Plenty of great things to be had. And what are your parting words of wisdom, John?
Well, they won't be words of wisdom, and I was thinking as Angus described his week, I'm really kind of a useless old fart, and I spend all of this past week skiing the Alps of Camden, down at the Camden Snowball.
The high peaks, the Camden High Peaks.
Well, that's right, and coming back, it had been more than 2 weeks since I'd been last at Sugarloaf, and Don Fowler showed me where my locker was, so I got that straightened around, and I'll go over and get my boots. But it's interesting that down in that little community, there's the same kind of feeling with a $6.5 million redevelopment project, 4.5 of which is the generosity of the local people, and I'm involved in that activity down there, and I keep reminding them of this model that we have up here for the Charity Summit. And as you said, Nadine, all day long there is all kinds of beautiful silent auction items right there in the Base Lodge, and people should go over and take a look at some of those things, bid on them, and I'm always amazed every year about the quality of the things that are available in the silent auction, and then the generosity of the people almost always bidding more than what the face value of these items is, because they recognize what they're supporting. And then we get into the evening with some wonderful vacation weeks and airplane rides and Sugarloaf season passes and a parking spot at the base of the quad, all being auctioned off.
They used to auction off, you could buy the right to have a run with Joni Benoit. That was one of the things they auctioned off, and I told her I'd pay $100 not to have to run with her. So, there's an immense amount of money to be made there.
Well, it's fun to hear Kip this morning talking about the SKI's sponsorship of someone going up and doing some first tracks with Kip, and I guess I'd almost do what
You'd
Angus
pay
said.
not
I'd
to
pay
do
a lot
that.
not to ski down there with Kip. I've chased him too long, too many years.
Oh, well.
You better get us out of this,
I was
Nadine.
going to say, you guys are just your tops. I hope you both have an excellent day and a great time this evening as well. Happy skiing for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
And good luck to you every single day. May God bless you and all you're doing.
Thanks, Nadine.
Well, Nadine, thanks for
thanks
everything
for
SKI does and the
I'll say.
opportunity to do this.
Hey, we're glad
Great.
to be here. Very happy. Stay with
CNN
us.
last Sunday and SKI today. I mean,
Hey,
You're moving up in the
I
world.
got it
You're
covered.
moving up in
man.
the world.
I got it covered.
I feel really honored that you put us in that same
There you
class.
go.
Thank you so much, Senator.